there's a couple of messages we need to share before our next session. This wonderful startup pack, this toolkit rather, could be yours. It's available online. Yeah, I was reading through it. It's really, really good. Our pictures are also in there. Did you notice that?
Our picture, darling. Our picture.
Yeah, our picture in there. So, but there's loads of really useful stuff. You can, remember, scan the QR code and you can download that. Can we give again a big shout out for all of the libraries across the UK who are screening bits of this? Thank you so much. Everyone online who's asked questions. Please do remember all the hooks. Yeah, all the hooks for the, we talked about social media. If you're taking pictures today, do link in the British Library links for the Business and IP Centre, etc., which are in your packs.
Not to forget, Martha did mention that she's got a couple of prizes, and there will be more for this afternoon, but you can only get it, including Rashid's books as well. He's going to be giving some away, really good books. The only way you're going to get it is if you do fill out the feedback forms.
Yeah.
That's the only way, and it's going to happen at the end of the day. So make sure that you do that if you want to win a prize, and there's quite a few goodies in there.
We're about to go to a session, a really important session about intellectual property.
Yep.
After that, there will be time for coffee, and it's going to be one of those last opportunities today to network, to share, to get the headshots. I think. Is the Doorbell of Dreams, is that completely...
Still going, but it's quite busy now, yeah.
Alison and Isabel telling me, like, no, it's too late.
Sorry, guys.
It's too late, but glad for who did it? Raise your hands, those of you who've done Doorbell. Look, that's
loving
good
it.
number. Okay, IP,
intellectual property.
Intellectual property is really, really important. This session is so important. We've got one of the British Library experts, Jeremy O'Hare, who's going to be talking us through a very important topic, which is intellectual property, protecting your ideas, whatever it is that your business is. It can be really valuable if you get it right. It can be very costly if you get it wrong.
It can be costly.
It can be incredibly costly if you get it wrong. So he's going to be sharing with Amber from House of Zana their story and their journey. Should we hear from them? Should we invite them up to the stage?
Let's bring them up. Let's hear it all.
Big round of applause for Jeremy with Amber.
Welcome.
Well, hello everybody. Great to see you. It's a real privilege to be here with so many wonderful and inspiring entrepreneurs and experts to hear what they have to say, and to be with you as well. You're the next generation of inspiring entrepreneurs, and you're the reason why we're here. You're the reason why we're making this day happen. So thank you for coming today. It's great. Yeah, my name is Jeremy O'Hare, and I'm one of the team here at the Business and IP Centre British Library. And I guess you could call this slot the in-house speaker slot. But the topic I'm sharing with you today is, I believe, one that is really critical for every startup business that we should know about. And that, of course, is intellectual property. And so the session today is how to protect and make money from your business idea. And I'm going to give you an intro into this topic. And then afterwards, I'm absolutely delighted to have an entrepreneur, Amber Kotrri, to hear about her experiences as well. We're going to call her up to the stage in due course. But permit me, if you will, just for a moment to plug what we do here, and more importantly, how we can help you. We support all kinds of researchers, but our focus is to support entrepreneurs from that first spark of inspiration, which is why we're here on Startup Day, through to getting your first customer and scaling up to what we hope eventually will be your first employee and growing your own team as well. We have access to high-value market research, company information and trends, but also helpful information and making the most of your intellectual property. And all of this is through getting a reader pass with us, which you can apply for anytime you come back. Just bring proof of your address, and you can get one of those and access our resources here on site. But here in the Business and IP Centre, we want to combine really good researched information, desk research, with practical, real-world personal experiences, which is why we're delighted to have one of our entrepreneurs talk later as well. So what is intellectual property? IP are creations of the mind. They have some new unique value. What's great is you get to own and commercialize these new creations. We have laws to ensure that you own what you create. And you are, most importantly, rewarded for your creations. Let me just correct a small but common misunderstanding in one sense, and that's around protecting your ideas. technically, you can't protect an idea because it's just something in your head. But if I share my idea with someone else and they create something from that, there's very little you can do, unfortunately. But as soon as your idea becomes something we can see, touch, hear, interact with, then you have created your own intellectual property right there. It's a tangible thing that you potentially own. And it's new ownership rights that you have ownership over with as well. Now, depending on what you create, you can have a different form of intellectual property that you can use to potentially defend it and for you to claim ownership over it. So if it's a new technical innovation or process, that would be a patent, a new type of attractive packaging that's distinctive, maybe a new product look. Likely that's going to be a registered design. If you're creating new software, a program of some sort, a training manual, a podcast, any kind of creative work, maybe in the creative industries, whatever you're creating, you're more than likely to own your very own copyright on that particular work. Of course, most of us here will be eventually building our own brands, and that is essentially the name for your business. It could be for a product or a service, and that's where trademarks are really critical and important for you. Some of these rights are acquired through registering with the Intellectual Property Office, and some you don't. Some are automatically yours. So the creations you come up with, so long as they're new and distinctive, can become your property. Actually that. This is like a residential or commercial property. It's an asset that you own and hopefully should increase in value as well as you grow and scale your business too. You can even sell your IP, you can rent it out, assign it to another party as well. Your IP is a really important aspect of valuing your business. It's what a buyer of a business is really interested in as well. It's one of the first questions I ask is, what IP do you own? Have you gone through the right steps and all the rest as well? What's the current value? What's the lifespan of it into the future too? Because your IP is an asset. And the headline talk today is how to make money from that asset. Well, here's some examples right here that you might want to make a note of as well. With your IP, you can potentially license, exclusive or non-exclusive. Every software agreement we sign up to, every app we download and install, essentially is a license which will have some kind of IP inside it as well. Of course, you can hopefully sell your intellectual property when you sell your business. You may, in some cases, and this is really important for today's example, you may need to enforce and defend your intellectual property. That may not be making money, but it's sure going to stop you from losing money. And that's just as important as well, to be able to defend what you own and what you create as well. Your IP could also be used for a strategic partnership. Maybe you're going into partnership with someone who can bring something to the table. You've got some IP you can bring to the table. That's really important too. Maybe it can be there to help you get investment. Investors will be looking at what IP you have and what value they can get from that return as well. And maybe you're one of the few that goes into franchising. Your IP is absolutely critical in terms of getting out of franchise too. And lastly, whatever it is that you choose to commercialize, whether your product or your service, I would pretty much guarantee in most cases, if not all, there'll be some kind of intellectual property that's there. So it's good to have these conversations and to explore this topic and make the right decisions early on as well. So Rashid's highlighted very well our startup toolkit. Yes, I'll highlight it again. We've got other particular guides for IP on copyright and patents and all the rest. We have a whole suite of workshops and webinars coming up over the next few months. Please sign up to those. Most of them, if not all of them, are free. And they're at convenient times, whether online or you can come in person and speak to one of us or one of the team as well in the next few weeks and months. But there's one type of IP that every startup business, I think, should seriously consider obtaining, and that's a trademark. It doesn't matter whether your business is big or small. You can compete. You can seriously compete with a small brand and build loyalty with the name of your product and service. And our guest entrepreneur, who I'm absolutely delighted to introduce today, Amber Kotrri, founder of House of Zana, knows all about launching and building a successful brand, and she's had to literally fight for it. Her story is one of resilience and sheer determination up against some pretty sizable odds as well. So enough about me. Let's hear her story. Let's welcome to the stage Amber from the House of Zana. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Brilliant. Well, this is where we get into the chat and the real discussion here. It's always good to talk to actual entrepreneurs who have been through some battles and have come through successful in the end. But Amber, I think by way of kind of just opening up our time today, and we're going to have some Q&A after this as well, so get some questions ready too. And that's just about your story. And I know every entrepreneur has got their own personal story to get them to where they are. So I wonder if you could just share a little bit about how you started your business and what inspired you to go for the House of Zana brand.
Yeah, so I started House of Zana Fashion in 2018, and then more recently in 2023, House Zana Workwear. It started when I moved to Albania with my husband. He's Albanian. We met in Italy, and I was kind of in a new country. I didn't know the language at the time, and I was sort of getting to know the place, which is beautiful, by the way, if you ever get a chance to visit. But they have a lot of artisans still and seamstresses and things like this, and I was always a creative. I did arts management at university, so I decided to start buying fabric and creating garments for myself, dresses for weddings or events. And really it was from kind of compliments from friends and family, like, where did you get your dress? Can you make me one? That it just sort of organically grew into, this could potentially be a business idea. And with that, obviously, it needed a name. So House of Zana, the name was born from Zana in Albanian language means fairy, but it's not just any fairy. It's like a strong, empowered woman that lives in the mountains of Albania that protects the warriors there, which ended up being a great name for this business. So yeah, House of Zana was born from, just looking for a path for myself, and then here we are today.
Wonderful, brilliant, great name as well. Lovely story behind that as well. It's very good. There's always a personal story, I think, behind every founder as well. 2018, you're setting up your business. Like, a lot of stuff's happening. You've got a lot of things, I'm sure for many of us here, a lot of things to tick off the list, the to-do list. At what point did trademarking first come into your mind, and how did you find out about that, and why did you do it?
So to be very honest, I think I was a little bit late with it, and I would definitely say that I would recommend, doing that first when you're starting a business, but I didn't know that at the time, and it wasn't until I opened my first store that I thought, actually, I should trademark this. It seems like, a professional thing to do. I didn't think there'd be any doubt at all. Nothing would come back. I did the application online, very easy, very cheap to do it, and then I received this letter from Inditex, who, in case people don't know, own Zara, Bershka, Stradivarius, all of them. And it was, a letter with a list of demands, and that's kind of when I realised that trademarking is very, very important.
So when you got that, everything else is going on, and you got a couple of kids as well, a busy household. And how did you feel when you received that, and what did you do next?
Well, the wording was, very cleverly put together, obviously by professionals, and I'm sure they do this all of the time. And it was just a list of demands of take the tags out of your garments, close down your social media, close down your website, any tags like paper tags, make sure you get rid of them. It was very specific, and it gave me 3 months to do it and to sign the letter. But obviously my first reaction was, well, I'll have to do that because, they're saying that there's going to be consumer confusion. But the more that I read it and the more I talked to friends and customers and things, they were like, well, where is the confusion? I would never come into your store and think that I'm in Zara, and never go to their website thinking that And then I thought, well, actually, common sense here, it isn't similar. So I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to sign the letter. I'm just going to leave it. There's nothing they're saying that they can do. So I left it, and then I was contacted by them through the IP, like through the kind of, I guess,
And so you kind of thought, it was interesting, you got kind of that feedback from everybody.
Yes.
And I think that's really important because that's like a good average sample of what people are actually thinking when they hear that. And clearly that was an inspiration to kind of go forward. Did you have any sense of how long this is going to be and what the process would be?
No.
And at what point do you think, oh gosh, I need to get some legal help? Can I even afford this?
Yeah. Well, I think, Yeah, when I sort of realised that, I have to respond then, because once it was with the IPO, I have to respond because they give you a certain amount of time where you have to actually go back, you can't ignore it any longer. And it was, again, just the same kind of list of demands, but saying that consumer confusion was their main argument. So it looked similar or it sounded similar, so for a person going into a store, they could be confused. But my whole thought process throughout the whole almost 2 years this went on for, by the way, was that it is not the same. And that was just kind of what kept me through this, that I'm going to fight this till the end because I've built this brand and it is not similar to Zara. Like, the garments aren't similar, the name isn't similar, the story, etc. And I had to just keep reminding myself of that and telling people about it.
Yep.
But at first, I think I was obviously very scared. I was thinking, like, what am I going to do? I couldn't really invest in new items in the business. I couldn't invest in, like, better packaging and, even, like, new bags for the shop. I was like, oh, do we use just some, like, cheap bags for now? Because if I put the branding on everything and then we do have to change, like, how will this work? So it definitely halted the business over that time. And also it was time-consuming letters backwards and forwards with them, as you can imagine. But, yeah, I think in the end, it just came down to the fact that I really believe, and I wanted to set a good example for my children, about the fact that just because they're a big company, they can't come along and, tell you to close down. But yeah, I think my other kind of, I wouldn't say regret, because, I did it in the end, was that I didn't go public early enough, because once I did that, I just didn't feel like I was alone anymore. And being an entrepreneur, being a business owner is very lonely, as I'm sure many people here feel, because I had everyone behind me then. I had other businesses that had been through the same thing, and all the customers, like clients out there that were saying this is not similar, and people saying I'm returning my things to Zara now, and people sent me money in the post, like, here's some £20, help you fight. It was amazing.
Oh, good. Yeah. I love this. So on the one hand, you've got a large entity with all their resources, and you've got principal and you've got supporters out there who can see this cause. And I've no doubt amongst them are small business owners themselves who have maybe had something similar. And by the way, folks, technically, I like that word, technically, IP is a level playing field. So you should be able to fight back, but it's not as easy as that, not in reality. And when you get these letters, but having that registration to begin with, it gave you something to work with. And so I gather then the media, you were able to kind of tell a story, and that gave you a bit more leverage. And did that help with the fight a little bit?
Yeah, I definitely think it did, because I had, like, lawyers reaching out saying, like, would you like some advice, like some free advice? So it helped, because what then happened after about, I guess I'd say, like, about a year and a half, was that we weren't coming to any agreement because I was not closing down and they were not giving up. So we had to go to a tribunal, which, because of COVID, it actually ended up being online, which I think was probably a little bit less stressful because I was in my home, but still on my own.
Yes.
But once I knew I was going to tribunal, I'd never done anything like this before. So it was quite nice knowing that other people had been through similar things or could give me some advice of how to, how that would go. And also I did call the IP officer on the letters that I'd been sent and ask them, like, what is a tribunal? Like, how is that? I mean, I had no idea. And then I was sent the, like, kind of final documents ahead of that from Inditex that said they'd have, like, these 6 lawyers attending, and why do you need that many? And I think, again, it was all to do with scare tactics, and I think that's what's important for people to know, is that that's just what they do to try and get you to close down, and you don't have to. You can, I don't want to, sorry to say the word fight, but you can really stand up for what you've built. It doesn't have to be as simple as, like, they've told me and I have to sign, but you are really made to feel that way, because it's so cleverly written, every single word in their letters. So.
And so presumably it got to a decision day, tribunal day, if you will. So would you mind just sharing about that day and how it worked out and how you felt at the end of it all?
So I think it's important to say that I'm, like, definitely not a public speaker. I've never done these type of things. But when it came to that, I just thought I have to go on, like Instagram Live and do these things and just put myself out there to say I'm going through this. So even before the tribunal, I was kind of speaking to everybody out there saying, like, in 5 minutes it's going to start. And I felt like I was really, like, in that tribunal with everyone. But in the last moment of the kind of, the case, whatever you call it, is it the officer that runs the, what would you call it, like a judge, is it?
Yeah, I know what you're saying,
They sort of said, is there any final comments? And I was like, no, I don't have anything else to say. And Inditex lent out to their client and said, oh, we have one more comment. if Mrs. Kotrri is unsuccessful, we would like her to pay our fees. And I was like, yeah. So obviously I was like, oh, okay, did not see that coming, was not expecting that, so we ended it, and then obviously I spoke to my husband, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, if we lose this, like, how much of their fees? They're using, like, the best lawyers, and what do we do? I was back to that, okay, I do feel quite alone again now, because it's great having the support, but realistically, what are we doing here? Yeah. And then a week later, they sent me a letter outside of kind of like the official IPO saying, look, we won't charge you our fees if you sign the original letter and close down. Oof. Yeah. So we were back to that again, and I think that was the moment where I was like, no, like, this is definitely a scare tactic. Like, House of Zana is 3 words, it's a different logo, it's a different, sound. Yeah. There's no, like, consumer confusion. And I just played it out till the end, and, like, 3 months later, we got the result.
And there was a pattern there, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Really great.
Thank you.
Really great. I think it's just wonderful to kind of hear that and to feel that, because it's really lonely, right?
Yeah.
Starting a business.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to get struggles no matter what they are. This is an exceptionally difficult struggle and a very intimidating one. And obviously you had that support from lots of people along the way, but it came down to, again, at the end of the day, it was you and them. And so maybe there's other people with similar stories, and maybe you want to share, have you had anything like this, or people come back to you and say, oh, I had this experience and this was what happened to me, or they heard about your story and it motivated them to kind of keep going? How's that kind of worked out?
Yeah, so I think, like I said, I'm not the type of person who would usually want to do things like this, but I just have this, like, passion for getting this story out there. And I think what encouraged me to do this more is that so many other business owners reached out and said they'd had exactly the same letter, like word for word, from Inditex, asking them to close down, whether it was through Bershka or Stradivarius, different, companies under their umbrella, but then also, brands from completely different areas as well, whether it was food or like beach towels or hair products, not even under the fashion, garments. So that kind of made me think, okay, I will share my story. And people contact me, I'm not joking, weekly, saying they're going through similar things. Can we jump on a call, have a chat? And obviously, I'm always, like, open to do that. But I think it's important to know that they do just have this sort of template letter that they send out in the hope that most people sign it. And that's what I found most shocking, is that maybe it is a little bit my personality, that I feel like when there's an injustice, I have to fight it. But so many people just signed the letter and then said to me, but how did you not sign it? And I said, well, you didn't have to, but now I just hope that I can help other people know how to move forward without it being costly. Yes, it cost my time, but I didn't pay one lawyer. It didn't cost me anything, because I just did it on my own. So you can do it yourself. If you believe in what you've built and you don't see the similarities, then just say it.
Yeah. I think that's the incredible part of it, Amber, is that you didn't pay a penny for this, but you got this victory against overwhelming odds. I think it's just astonishing. So, again, our heartfelt congratulations for being here, and to have you here, and to have your business still thriving,
right?
Yeah,
absolutely. And I think, honestly, like, it led on to so many amazing opportunities, because people heard about it in ways that it was like the most unbelievable free marketing. You can't, like, pay for that much marketing. It was like on BBC, in the Times, everywhere. So it really got the business out there and led on to so many other opportunities, like the workwear and everything. So in a strange way, like, it was quite an amazing experience to have, and I grew so much as a person as well from it.
Brilliant. We'll talk about the workwear in a minute, but I'm thinking, what kind of, let's say if there's a top tip or tips that you want to give to our audience today that may be in the realm of trademarks or anything else around starting a business, what do you think you want to share from this experience, and broadly as well?
Yeah, I would say, like, be clear about what your vision is, where you want to go, and, like, what your why is, and I guess always have that at the front of your mind. So if you do have, or when you do have, let's be honest, challenges that come up on day to day, or like challenges like this, big challenges, you remind yourself of, like, why you're doing it, and what your vision is. And I think that's really important. Of course, make sure that you trademark your business, and probably look into that, like, as I did, and, like, right at the beginning, so that if there is anything out there that you didn't know about genuinely or whatever, you can then make those changes if you need to from the beginning. Because once you have the foundation with the trademark, everything, the possibilities are endless. You can grow as much as you want because you have those foundations.
Yeah, that's something that I think that hopefully supports my point earlier on about it being an asset and something you can use to kind of defend yourself, as well as you're putting all this time and energy into building your business. It's brilliant. And so just kind of, I'm curious about people here. How many are maybe starting a fashion business in particular, or in that world? Oh, not okay. There's a few of you. Okay, this is quite a common problem. I think certain sectors are maybe a little more litigious, and so it's good to be aware that there is support out there, and there's a wider network across the national network of intellectual property specialists that can help you and guide you and here as well. Of course, there are lawyers that are there to help you as well, but maybe it's just you want to have that interim conversation while you work out what you need to do. And of course, we're here to help as well. And I'm just kind of wondering, Amber, what you think about the support that's out there, and if you could kind of rewind the tape a little bit. Would there be other people you'd talk to, or would there be other ways you could do it? I mean, you've done enough already, but would there be a different way to approach it?
Yeah, I think, it's been amazing working, obviously, with the British Library, and there's so many resources out there, which I wish I had at the time. It wasn't until, like I said, I got to that tribunal kind of final stage where I thought, gosh, I need to speak to somebody, and I spoke to the IPO officer, who were very, very helpful, and I know you work closely with them here at the library. Yeah. So I think, take that free advice as much as you can, and, get together like what information it is that you need, and I wish that I'd have had that. But when you're running a business day to day, sometimes it's impossible, isn't it? There's no time, and you're just pulling together what you can. So there is actually amazing resources out there. It's just finding them.
Amazing. So the future's bright now. The battles, there might be a few more battles in the future. That's always the case, isn't it, running a business? But hopefully none as big as what you've had, I'm sure.
Hopefully not.
So what's next for House of Zana? Because it looks like you're moving into a similar but slightly different space with workwear. So tell us about that journey and what prompted that shift. And
so we started, like I said, the fashion brand, and then we've moved into opening our own manufacturing facility in Albania. So we spend a lot of time there. Obviously, it makes sense. Our roots are there. Working, closely with women to empower them there, and creating uniforms now. So we started partnership with an NHS subsidiary from the north in 2023, which again, it all came from them hearing about our story and empowering women. And we went and worked in the hospitals and worked really, really closely with frontline staff to create uniforms that were fit for purpose, because as you may all know, you've probably seen the NHS uniforms, they're a bit dated, and the quality, and they didn't last as long, and they were complaining, these amazing people who were doing great things every day, that it's hard to even bend down in someone's home helping them, because you're thinking about, yourself, your modesty, because the uniforms are just don't fit well. So we worked really closely with them to create something that works long term and washes well and lasts longer and fits well. And from that, we then started House of Zana Workwear, and we sell also premium uniforms into the private sector.
Yes.
And that's something I never thought I'd be in, but again, that's the thing with business, isn't it? You just follow that flow, and really excited about where we're going with it and proud of it.
Maybe you've picked up a gold nugget here, but I'm going to make it very clear in case you haven't. So you have developed a product from a problem. From the ground up. You've talked to the front line and said, how can we make something here? And maybe a bit of an obvious question, but have you found that to be helpful in terms of selling into the NHS because you've done that? Or
I mean, I think that's a whole other complete thing with it. Obviously public sector is completely different, but I think what we did take from it is realising that there's the same problems in the private sector, and then we've just obviously moved into that sector because there's not so much red tape, I would say. So it's great to be able to supply into the NHS where we can, but also to sell into the private sector and also solve the problems that they're having on day to day, like spas, aesthetics salons, and create something that's high quality and lasts a long time. Makes me feel good to know that you're creating something that makes people feel good, is fit for purpose, and works with them.
Amazing, brilliant, great example. So lots of things here to maybe open up for questions, I think, from the audience. Maybe you want to ask your own questions to Amber, and please feel free. And I think we've got some potential questions from the network as well. So, if we've got anyone in the audience that wants to have a go.
Congratulations, obviously, on the win. Did you? Yeah. Did you get the impression that there was something else behind this drive that they have to go after every small business? Because you wonder, what do they get out of it? Is it just somebody trying to make a name for themselves in the company, trying to prove that they're super smart, and because is it a business model that they're using to maybe hassle people out of it? I just couldn't understand why they'd go after people at the level they did with you.
I mean, yeah, I do think they have kind of lawyers behind the scenes working on checking on, I don't know, upcoming trademarks or whatever it is, and just sending out these sort of blanket letters. I mean, the tone of them is really condescending, and even in the tribunal, it does make you feel like belittled. But I don't know if there's a reason other than like they're getting paid a set fee to do that, and they just send out the letters. And we discussed this earlier, didn't we, that I would love to see something on a higher, say, government level, where it's some kind of support for people out there to say that they shouldn't be allowed to do it, or they should only be able to go to a certain point. And because it isn't right that these big companies can do that to small businesses. It should be, I mean, I know they've got to defend themselves as well, but I feel like there should be something better in place for this, because it happens so often.
Thank you.
I think there's not a lot of information out there apart from an our network. It's very easy to capitalise on that in a bad way.
Yeah,
people just don't know
absolutely.
what their rights are. Yeah. Any other questions from the floor? Yeah, I think.
I'm just curious whether you were given legal advice as to whether you had a case against Zara, and did you consider pursuing such?
You mean after the tribunal?
To sue them, yeah.
I know a lot of people ask me this, to be honest, and like, did I get any money back for my time, and I should have charged 100 grand an hour or something like this. But I did obviously consider at the time, like, do I do something? But I was just really happy to win, to be honest. And all I wanted to do was get on with my business, and I'd had this year and a half of it being halted, and I just was happy to win, tell my children that I'd won, and just move on with it, really. So I didn't know.
Have we got any questions from the network or online at all? Nothing. Okay.
I think they could be doing better. Let's see if there's enough. If you're online and you're watching this, get your questions in. We're ready for your questions.
Yeah. Great.
Hi. Very inspirational, by the way. I'm from Albania too, and I understand the name and everything it's coming from. Good luck with everything, and congratulations on the win. My question is, because I hear a lot about trademark and IP, and it seems it's more towards products rather than services, and my business is service business. So I was wondering, like, should I think about trademark now with a consulting business, or leave it a few months and think about it later?
Absolutely. It's a good question, because IP does often seem like it's product-based, but I would strongly encourage you to look at a trademark, because how do you kind of bottle a service, the magic of that? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's a tough thing to do, and I liken it to trademarking as kind of capturing and bottling a little bit of that service magic that you're creating in that service that you've got. And the more customers that hopefully you acquire over the years, the more value for the business, and the more value the trademark will gain as well. So for relatively straightforward process initially, and you seem to have found that as well, and a relatively reasonable price. You're kind of looking at £170. It's going to go up fairly soon in the new year. To get a trademark, problems notwithstanding, is a little more exceptional. You'll end up with your trademark, and that's something you can put in your back pocket and say, I own this, and whatever I build into that service, this is going to increase the value of the trademark. So very long answer, but I think I would certainly focus on that area for services. But we can have other conversations with us later on.
And Jeremy, at that moment, I wonder if it's worth saying that the wonderful workshops here that talk through the kind of thing that you've taken us through, isn't it?
Yes.
Just taking people through the different types of trademark and how they can help you in the way that you have done, but in a bit more depth, and I know you deliver those, Yeah,
absolutely, Rashid, that's right. We'd open up all your options around trademarking, and so that way you'd have a really good idea of what you want to do next, what you need to do. Yeah. Some more questions here, I think.
Here, there's a mic here. Otherwise, I'll bring mine. Oh,
hello. Sorry.
I'll come over with mine.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. My question is specifically around fashion. I do custom wear, so making pieces from scratch, and it's all individual. And I think with fashion, it's tricky to actually trademark things because I think you only have to manipulate something by like 5% for it to be, considered different. And so obviously you're finding a lot of fast fashion labels mimicking things and changing things. And I'm wondering if you dealt with that on your scale and how you sort of move forward with that.
Yeah, this is very difficult. It's more like to do with copyright, I would say, and we obviously copyright some of our designs, but you're right, it's a very small percentage that people have to change to make it their own, and it is difficult because every time we bring something out and it goes well, our first doubt in the team is like, oh gosh, like is someone going to copy this? But unfortunately, it is just part of it, and you just have to create that under your brand, and then therefore people are buying it from you because, with anything, all the big brands, everyone can copy, but it's just making it your own. But you're right, I'd say in a way it's like more difficult than trademarks because there's such a small percentage and that the big companies can copy them. So that's probably a really unhelpful answer, other than I agree with you and I don't know what we do.
Oh, you're absolutely right, Amber, and that's absolutely the case. In that industry, things move very fast.
Yeah.
I mean, you get fashion seasons every year. They're all inspired off each other's designs. That's a given. That's okay. But ironically, it does then point back again to the trademark and to the brand. And, you can have so many different styles of Burberry, but Burberry's Burberry, and so are the others. So it just reinforces and pushes forward more that importance around the trademark and the brand.
True.
With some other IP rights potentially on the side that support that. Yeah.
No, it's not. Oh, it is now. It is now. Thanks, guys, in AV. That is really important. I recall working at, my background's fashion, and I worked for a company who had a whole department that would check the back pockets of jeans denim because of Levi's to make sure that it wasn't, against their trademark. So it's really every single thing. But there is a couple of questions online. So Ellie was asking, firstly about the group. You spoke about a group who were telling you stories. They're sharing their stories with you. It's asking who were the group that made you feel less alone?
Just everybody, everybody.
Or just your community?
Really. So the just general community of people that reached out through letters or messages or came into my store and just said like, good luck, we're behind you. Just everybody really, the community, yeah.
And she also went on to ask, do you think if you had trademarked, or maybe Jeremy could answer, if you had trademarked your brand before Zara contacted you, do you think they would have sent you the letter? If you had done it at the early stage?
But I think they've just reached out because they saw that I trademarked, so that at any point they would have reached out.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. They're always watching the register, whether you do it early or later. They're going to look at it and find out. So. But earlier is always just a general rule of thumb.
And I think it's better for yourself if it's earlier because then you can make that conscious decision. Do I want to make some changes or do I want to go through this process?
It's true. Yep.
One last question. You get the gentleman.
Hello? I'm a little confused. I noticed House of Zana, and then you have a TM instead of an R with a circle. Why is that?
It was just really just to be...
It should be your registered trademark, so it should be an R. And well done for spotting that because that is a little nuance. It's actually really important.
Yeah.
And the TM is an unregistered trademark, and anybody can start a brand and put TM next to it. You've got a common law right to trade, but once you've got your brand, you can put an R next to it, which I'm sure you do, and that's your registered trademark. Full marks for pointing out that's absolutely true.
We say very full marks, Jeremy and Amber. This has been a powerful session. Thank you both. Can you keep the applause going for Jeremy and Amber? Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Wow, inspiring. And I just want you to say last thing, Amber, it was really wonderful in this. Just very quickly, do you see the irony in that the name of the House of Zana from, these magical fairies, these warrior women, is that something that's really struck you, the magic and the power of that? Yeah,
to be honest, and telling that story in the tribunal felt really good as well, because it was like, this is where this is from, so like, just taking it to the end, and fits really well. So.
Wonderful. Again, a round of applause.
Thank you.
So we're not...
Grab just a couple of the takeaways from that, just to solidify. And thank you so much, Mar, once again. One of the things that she did say was about trademarking early, and I think that is really, really important. And I think we all kind of love that kind of David and Goliath story, right? Especially when the Davids win. And just standing up for what you believe, you know, not to get so intimidated. So, yeah, the warrior, the fairy warrior did come through. So thank you, one again, but also be clear on your vision, because that is going to be the thing, right? That makes you keep going, because you know what it is and you believe in it. So thank you once again for that. Wonderful. And Jeremy and Amber, thank you.
Wonderful. And we've got a number of messages before coffee. Coffee is fast approaching.
Who wants some coffee, some caffeine?
Caffeine, lots of people are going to be needing it.
They want wine or something, really. I think it's wine o'clock, isn't it, nearly?
Nearly 1 o'clock, but a number of things. Don't forget that with your QR codes, there's a number of things that you can do. You can access this Startup Toolkit. You can also register for the e-newsletter, and there's other information, and you can also access all of the workshops as well. So there's that. I think you've still got one last opportunity today for
the partners, yeah. So we've got some great partners outside. So is somebody there who deals with fashion? Alison, she does some great workshops here at the BIPC on the first floor in the main building. Do make sure to go over there another day or today.
You can have your headshots taken if you're looking great.
Taken. So much going on. So over the break, grab that drink, coffee, and then go and do a bit of schmoozing, networking, headshots, etc.
Oh, and there is one last thing to keep a note of. There is going to be an opportunity to have a tour of the Business and IP Centre. That's going to be at 5:15, I think, just immediately after today. So if you're interested, go to the British Library desk just outside for that. But we are very near coffee. Do use that as an opportunity to network and share, and see you back here just before 4.
Yeah, before 4 o'clock. See you. Thank you.